Well,
we're bouncing back slowly but surely, even though the weather is gloomy as fuck and humid and whatever. We're here. Gonna shout out Cincinnati townsperson Gabriel, who sent us a little photo of them listening to us while working at Starbucks.
oh my
And they're like in
God.
the back room, whatever, like, "Nyeh." And I was like, oh my God. I'm always surprised at people listening to us at their establishments of work. But I think most people, I don't know, in the kind of jobs that y'all have, townspeople, where you do have the time to just like listen and not be distracted, because I'll be distracted.
Oh, I'd be listening to podcasts at work all the time.
Yeah, but that doesn't. Did you feel like my brain cannot focus on if I'm doing something, if unless I'm just walking my dog, to the park or something.
No, I need to have something like if I'm like, especially I listen to a lot of podcasts when I'm sewing because like I need something to like stimulate my brain to like think about so I'm not focusing so much on like what my hands are doing. Like I'll listen to music every now and again too, like that's also helpful, but it's like I need something like background noise. Like I can't just like do it in complete silence. Like even if I'm in complete silence, I just start talking to myself and on my own podcast. Because I love to hear the sound of my own voice.
Well, I talked to him, and like I've been doing this. Well, shout out Gabriel, shout out, Pioneer Peru,
Trailblazer Nick.
and this is Pioneers and
Trailblazers.
Trailblazers. And I have developed this, like, I guess some would say, mentally unstable habit that I get carried away in my own thoughts. Like I always have this narrative in which, especially now that I'm like thinking of creative things about my show, like I'm walking down the street and I'm like pretending someone's interviewing me about my show, and I'm like answering the questions of how I'm developing it, or like I'm like, oh, I have this idea to put this song in the show, and then I started this whole dialogue. Well, how did you get this idea? And I'm like, well, the idea about the song is, but then
I do that in the shower.
oh, I do it in the shower for sure. I told you this yesterday, right? I hit myself dancing in the shower. I got this little scab just from dancing in the shower. You see that?
Battle wounds, battle
But
scars.
you see how fast it healed? Because yesterday it was bleeding, but now it's already scarred.
I didn't know it. I didn't notice it yesterday.
Well, I showed it to you.
I
You
don't
weren't paying
remember.
attention.
I don't remember. I was under the influence of a lot of alcohol.
Well, last night, and for those people who, by the time this drops, for those who are trust and believers, you would have already seen a little vlog that we posted. But we went out with the girls last night. Shout out Town Council founding member Spencer.
Shout out.
Visited the girls from Chicago, and so we had a little Brooklyn moment yesterday, which is honestly so lovely to be in a group setting like that,
Yeah, no, it was so fun. It was so fun to catch up and like see Spencer after so much time, and like, cause like the last time I saw him was back in like September, October. So it's been like a couple of months, and it was good to catch up and like see him and just like all hang out together and just like have like a really good night. And it was so silly and just like so kind of just lots of things were happening that were just like we can't really talk about because
Well, Patreon, I'm pretty sure I think we will, but
well, there's some things we can't say on the Patreon, but and so there's just like, but it was just like a silly goofy night and very lots of stuff happened.
we decided that we wanted to do like a Brooklyn bar crawl. So then we're like, okay, let's start Town Council final members John's apartment. We'll go to his roof because famously the weather was so nice yesterday, except then things took a turn as soon as the sun started setting because it got so windy, girl.
I dressed appropriately. Unfortunately, the rest of the group did not.
Well, because we're all rotted fucking gay people. We're just trying to show off our bodies as soon as possible.
And see, I was wearing a long sleeve t-shirt, a nice pair of jeans. I brought a jacket even just in case because I looked at the weather beforehand.
I
knew
brought
I
a
was gonna
long
get a little
sleeve too.
jacket.
Trust and believe, my cropped flannel that I always sport and people love.
Right, but you didn't wear it.
Well, I gave it to my sister Andrew, who's Robert's boyfriend. And mind you, a lot of these people, we talk about all the time. But if you're on the trust and believe tier, like you'll actually see them on video for the first time ever. So if you want to see what our friends look like and who we're talking about, they're there. But we went to a bar called Metropolitan, which I hadn't been to in forever.
It's been a while.
It's been a while.
I think the last time that I went to Metropolitan was when it was back in October. Was when I last saw Miss Spencer.
Did I see Miss Spencer in October? I don't think so.
Where
was I?
Where were you?
I don't know. I don't know where
I met up with them because he was visiting, and I met up with him and then two other mutual friends. And we like sat in the backyard area. I can't remember.
I don't know where I was.
Was that when they sent you to Miami? When did you get sent to Miami?
No, was it DC? Maybe it was DC.
Oh, DC. When were you sent to DC?
It wasn't October.
Oh.
That's kind of crazy. Well, anyway, we went to it was one of those social scenarios in which, like, throughout the night, we were seeing people that we knew,
Mm-hmm.
and we all have our.
Or maybe you just worked. I think maybe you just had to work.
Maybe it was just working. But anyway, we went to Metropolitan and it was really fun. We met up with my other friend Kevin, who was visiting from Tampa. And then we had like a good group in the back and it was really nice and everyone was catching up. And Metropolitan wasn't crazy busy either, which was good because we were able to find a good spot to sit at. And then we went to Miss Exley, in which we ran into our friend Elise.
Shout out.
Shout out.
What a beautiful moment.
Beautiful moment. So it was one of those like beautiful nights in which, and I hope you townspeople get to experience this or did experience this past weekend, where like everyone's kind of vibing, you know?
Mhm.
Everyone's vibing, and like of course there's like peppering of like tipsy. Just drama, or
well,
just
my sister got mad at me because they were trying to move on to the next location, and I was chatting with these two girlies who were friends of.
I didn't get mad. I was just like, we gotta go.
No, and then no, you were like, come on. You're like, Nick, come on, we gotta go. And I said, I'm sorry.
Does that mean I'm mad? That just means I'm keeping us on schedule. Doesn't mean I'm mad.
Sorry that I got two new townspeople to subscribe to the podcast. Thank you very
For
much.
once.
I was doing some promotional work after my sister, how many weeks ago, was telling me that I'm not doing enough for this podcast. So I said, oh, let me prove her wrong, and I did.
Well,
I
that
really
wasn't
did.
the drama, really. I was just like trying to get moving because at that point, like we had been talking about moving locations for like 35 minutes, and people are still standing in the back. And
I
it's like,
desperately really did not want to leave that place because like the energy here is just so nice and chill. And then I was like, I know they want to go to the Exley, and I was like, unfortunately the Exley, every time I go there, I'm always running into some gay guy that like is kind of
Okay.
like nasty.
So speaking of, which we didn't run into any nasty rotted gay people at the Exley. I mean, but so okay. So as soon as we walk into the Exley, townspeople, and I haven't told the full story. It's not even a crazy story, but I just want to explain to you who this person was. As soon as we walk into the Exley,
Oh, the guy who
I was walking through, and there was this guy wearing this like brick red button down or whatever shirt, and he's sitting down. Now, let me tell you, Nick, when I walked in and I clocked him, but I was like, I don't want to talk to him, so I just like looked away and just kept walking. This man, literally, who was next to me? I think it was Andrew and you and Spencer or Alex, and he literally like got in through them because I was just trying to walk through the door without being clocked, but he clocked me, and then he like went out, like he like literally went like this and like reached over and like tapped me, and of course I had to put my non-degree to use, and I was like, what? Huh? Like who's tapping me? And I was trying to do the thing where like I don't notice because there's so many people around me, but there wasn't anybody else around me at that point, so I was just like, I can't even pretend like I'm just, oh, was that just the air? What was that? Just the energy that just tapped me? And I was like, oh my god, what are you doing? So he's this guy, we'll call him Editor Guy. Years ago, Editor Guy and I met at a bar. God, I guess I'm going to have to disclose what the name of this bar was. I don't want to date myself. Whatever. There was a bar called TNT.
Never heard of that.
Fucking Williamsburg. Actually, you're going to have to cut that. Can you please cut that? You're going to have to cut that.
We're leaving it in.
There was a bar in Williamsburg called TNT that stood for this and that. And it was a gay bar. And it was like the kind of like think of what would be a good comparison? Think of if Verse weren't as new and had a little bit of a bigger space. Think of that.
I've never been to Verse.
Oh, Diva. Well, I mean, I guess we're not we're not at odds with Verse anymore, and for legal reasons, I actually cannot disclose why that is. But we're not at odds with Verse anymore, and like we're happy to support their business. So I guess maybe the next thing for us to do is when Mommy Peru has money again.
The one time that I was gonna go was when you were with. And then you were drunk, and then you were like, "We're gonna go in here," and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go home," and you were like, "What? No, bitch, no." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna go home," because it was like because we had initially met up.
Your impression of me drunk, it always has like a hint of just like drunk sex appeal, and I really appreciate that because I don't think that's.
Oh, I wouldn't call it that.
but you're like, you always put your hands up. You always put your hands up.
Well, because we had initially, I was after work one day. I met up with Peru in Hell's Kitchen, and then we like did margaritas, and then a mutual, well, actually more so a friend of Peru's who he knew in the biblical sense came, and the three of us were all hanging out, and then we all got fairly, intoxicated, and then we left, and then they were talking about, let's go to another location, and I did not have it in me to go to another location because I was like, girl, I've been working all day, like I'm tired, like it's late, like I have to go all the way back to Brooklyn, I'm in Hell's Kitchen. And so then we walked past first, and then you were like, no bitch, come in, and I was like, that's because I didn't have my ID or something.
Yes.
I didn't have my ID to get in. You're like, no, I'll sneak you in.
And you know what? I remember this day vividly now. It was a Monday. I remember that because you worked during the day on Monday. And I had met up with this Miss T at Rancheros.
Oh my God, it's when my grandma died.
Oh my God, it's when your grandma died. Oh my God, and we did speak on this.
We did because the three of us all talked about it. Because then he was like trying to console me, and I was like, "Oh, it's okay, I'm good." And he was like, "It's okay, you can talk about it." And I was like, "I'm good."
Listen, and I've seen Miss T by my apartment at the dog run that I go to. I've seen him already twice walking his dog. What?
You haven't like said hey?
We haven't said hey, but here's a tea. I've seen another man. Spoiler alert, shocking alert, who is the same kind of type as Miss T. Looks like the same, like Midwest, white bread, plaid wearing.
That is your type.
No, but like I'm saying, like he likes my type, but I think now he's dating this new person because I saw another man now 2 times this past week walk his dog. I'm pretty sure that was his dog because his dog's like a chubby Chihuahua-esque
Not
kind of
you
dog.
body shaming the dog.
I mean, the Chihuahua is on a chubbier side. It's a curvy Chihuahua. It's not a skinny Chihuahua. It's curves.
And now you're going to give her an eating disorder.
And you know what? Not only real women have curves, but fucking real Chihuahuas have curves. Title of ep.
And now you're going to give it, and now that Chihuahua's going to develop an eating disorder because of you.
Well, I don't think it's developing an eating disorder because that Chihuahua keeps adding on the curves, okay? It's doing the reverse Lizzo. Trust and believe. All of these men end up dating somebody who looks just like them, and then they end up settling down and moving in together. This keeps happening to me.
Boyfriend twins.
It just keeps happening to me, and like I know I'm half of the problem sometimes because
well, you did push him away.
I pushed him away, but then like it just became a
You're
like he was nice and like sweet to me.
Yeah, but I also think it was a little bit of self-sabotage too, because we've talked about this, and I think we talked about it on the pod before.
And I don't know, really, I don't know how we even got here on this tangent. Oh yeah, okay. Anyway, this bar called TNT.
Oh right.
It looks like Verse if Verse had already been in business for 10 years, like a little worn down Verse. And I met this guy there. We were having drinks and. This is really funny because it was one of those organic scenarios in which like I met him at the bar, we were like tipsy. He's not necessarily my type, but he was laying it on thick and he was being really flirty and charming, and like he like kind of like swept me off my feet at the bar. And he lived nearby in one of those like high rises in Williamsburg. So I was like, oh, Miss Thing got money. We were walking over to his apartment because he was like, come home with me. And I remember this day vividly. It was snowing, or it had snowed the day before, and it was still really cold in winter to where like the snow starts freezing, So I remember just walking towards his apartment, like hand in hand, making out and like trying to like manage the icy streets. We were about 2 buildings from his apartment. Like his like fucking fancy high rise that he lived by the water, basically. And I don't know what came over us, but we were so horny for each other that there was some, someone's like the sidewalks have like some construction going on. Like they put some barbed wire fence and like the orange white cones and stuff, they just like block out like a segment.
Sure.
Maybe to like because they're like fixing like a sewage thing or like fixing like a part, they like go in there and block it off. I don't know what came over me because I'm such a slut that I was like, no, wait, come on, let's go make out over here. I grabbed him by the shirt, and there was a barrel. There was a barrel that was right there inside this barbed wire fenced area that I snuck us into and I dragged them into, and I got on the barrel, and it was fucking cold, Nick. But I took my jacket. I remember it's like this like tan construction-y looking kind of like that brand? Air card
Carhartt.
Carhartt. It was like a Carhartt jacket, tan color with a zipper. I remember vividly. I took off the jacket and I put it on top of this barrel because the barrel was kind of like wet and nasty. So I was like, I'm gonna put it on top of this barrel. I pulled my pants down, got on top of the barrel, and he started fucking me outside of his apartment building.
Oh my
Because I was just like,
God.
let's just like be crazy, you know. And then I remember like then he didn't come then, but I got on doggy like on top of the barrel, you know, and I was like leaning on my jacket so I wouldn't get dirty. So it was just like, fuck me, daddy, and he was fucking me out there. And then we went into his apartment. I completely forgot my jacket.
On the barrel.
No, my jacket had been on the barrel. So I grabbed the jacket and I brought it the morning after because I spent the night. The morning after, I keep smelling. I'm like, smells like petroleum. Like smells like some like, you know, like some weird construct. I'm like, what's that smell? I go over to my jacket and my entire jacket is stained in like concrete, like petroleum liquid things from a construction site. Ruined. Jacket fully ruined. And then he was like, oh, I guess you're gonna have to stay here because you can't go out there in the cold. And I'm like, I have to go home. I can't just like stay here. And I'm like, how about you let me borrow your fucking jacket? Turns out he's an editor for television. He famously edited the show The Night Of with Riz Ahmed, Academy Award nominee. Shout out.
The Sound of Metal.
Sound of Metal. And also The Night Of, which is an incredible TV
He was nominated
miniseries.
for an Emmy, right?
Oh, he won the Emmy, mama girl.
Oh, right.
And it's a great, y'all, townspeople, recommendation corner, The Night Of, watch it, Riz Ahmed, really great show. And it was one of those things where, like, traditional story, like, in and out, like, he would text me, and I was kind of, like, infatuated with him because business.
Right.
And, like, he's not really my type, like, his eyes are too big, like, I don't know, he's just, like, he was, what? What?
His eyes are too big.
Like,
That's the
no,
problem.
But did you see him yesterday?
I thought he was cute.
he was cute, but like there's something I don't know. I felt like he was
Girl,
just
your standards are like
no. I'm saying I will be single forever until I'm rich and famous, and then somebody will be with me, and I will be with them because you know, like I guess it's part of the trade.
they're with
know?
you for the money and you're with them for their beauty.
No. I will never be. I'm never gonna be daddy. I'm never gonna be sugar mama. Like I'm always gonna be like you know, I have my own worth. But also, like, when you're famous, like, you just surround yourself with famous people, and then you just, like, marry famous and, like, rich. So that's what I want to do.
Right, but you think that but what happens if you're with another famous person and then you're like, "Oh, their eyes are too big."
But well, that's different because then we're rich and famous.
How will that be different?
No, I'm joking. Listen, I'm so superficial for shits and giggles. But in my real life, I'm only half that superficial. But I also feel like maybe I don't think I'm worth, so I always try to find the most meticulous judgment on a person because like I feel like I don't want them to do that to me first. So then like I become hyper judgmental on like a person.
Mm-hmm.
I start crying now. Wow, this took a turn. Anyway, so it was months that we just kept going back and forth, and like I slept over a few times, but like I kind of wanted to turn it into something, and he would keep telling me, being like, "Yeah, like you're great," but then like it kind of fizzled out. So like I kind of like hated him for that. So every time I see him now around the city since I moved back from Houston, then he just pops in and out like every 6 months or so, just like yesterday. And then I'm always like looking at him and I'm just like, we could have dated. Like we could have been something. But anytime I see him, I have like this sense of pride that like even if I wanted to indulge in like for all things considered, like last night I could have sat down with him and just like actually been a real normal person and like, hey, how are you? And like hung out and just talked to him, and he was telling me he was gonna go to the animal later, and I was like, okay.
Me too.
But then my kind of pride took over, and I was like, oh my god, well, like nice to see you. And then like of course the table right in front of their friends opens up, so then everyone sits at the damn table, and I was like, damn it, now I have to sit like right by him. But that brought up a lot of feelings in like maybe I'm the problem.
Well, yes.
But because I've been going through such a rough time in my life right now, I don't want to beat myself down. Like, I'm the dead horse, and I don't want to keep beating myself down so much by remembering of like how immature I behave sometimes in like romantic scenarios. And I was like, I don't really know how to feel about this, you know? Like seeing a guy like him that like could have been my boyfriend, but then like I became hyper judgmental, and also he was just kind of like playing around, not being serious. So once we got to the Exley, I was in that headspace of just like, I'm garbage.
Hot garbage.
Hot garbage.
Well, no,
Hot pocket.
I also ran into a former sex partner last night.
Who? Oh yeah,
White Jacket.
White Jacket.
Well, anyway, Prue saw him first and was like, "Oh my God, look, White Jacket!" And I was like, "Oh my God, hey!" And so then I went over to the table, and like when I went over, it seemed like they did not want to talk to me.
And then I ran away.
Well, yeah, and
I
then
scapegoated.
oh my God, and fully, I thought it was just gonna be like the two of us being like, "Oh hey, like quick little like how are things," and then call it. But then no, immediately Prue abandoned me at this table with these faggots, and I was like, "Oh," and then it was just like kind of an awkward conversation. But like I have not seen him since I think the last time I saw him was when we were at Julius that one time.
Yeah,
and he was there because I don't think I haven't hooked up with him in like 2 years. I think like the last time I hooked up with him was like the summer of 2023.
The dick good, which is always it's always what gets us in, girl.
The dick is good, but like in practice, a little jackhammery.
Oh, like performative, like yeah.
Yeah, it was like the last time that we had sex, it was
take it.
It was kind of like an episode of Girls. Like the first time that we hooked up, he biked to my apartment. It's plugged in, girl.
Okay. Well,
the first time that we hooked up, he city biked to my apartment, and then we fucked at my place, and then he left.
City bike to my apartment.
He did.
So romantic.
He was like, "Is there a city bike port by your apartment?" And I was like, "Actually, yes, there is." And he was like, "Okay, cool, because I'm gonna city bike there." And I said, "Great." Came over, fucked. It was good. It was fine. We chit chatted, and then he left. And then I think we only fucked twice, because then the next time, because up until then, like anytime he would like message me of like wanting to hang out, after that, like anytime he'd hit me up, it'd be like, oh, just looking to like hook up. It wouldn't be like I thought that we had enough similar interests that like we could hang out and like, I guess friends, but like friends who fuck, you know, sort of thing. But he wasn't really
friends with benefits. What's called?
Yeah, friends with benefits. I don't think he was really looking for that, because there was like one time where he DM'd me and was like, "What are you doing right now?" And I was like, "Oh, like, I can't remember what I said, but I was like, oh." I'm just like chilling at home or something. And he's like, "Oh, I'm just like at my place watching a movie. You want to come over?" And I said, "Sure, but I have a fissure right now, so I can't bottom. But I'm down to do whatever else." And he's like, "Oh,
didn't respond.
No." And then he was like, "Oh, I'm looking to fuck, so don't come." And then I was like, "Cool, got it. Thank you." And then
enjoy the movie.
Have fun. It was a documentary. It sounded boring as hell. Glad that I didn't get the invite.
Well, you know he didn't watch it.
No, and so then the last time that I saw him, like for fucking, I like went to his apartment, because at the time he didn't live very far from me. And then I got there and he like he was like, "Oh, message me when you're here." And I was like, "Okay, I'm here." And then he like popped out the window and he's like, "Here," threw the keys down. I like let myself in or whatever, and then went up, and then it was before I had to go to work, so it had to be sort of like quick. Literally barely made out, barely did any oral, literally just like kind of flipped me over on his bed and just put it in, just started jackhammering. And like I'm laying like for visual learners,
like me at the barrel.
No, I was like this. Like
you were planking for the dick.
I was planking, and he literally was just going like. And
wait, so not even like, damn, so he's just bad at sex.
Yeah, because I will say the first time we had sex, again, it's very jackhammery, but like at least we were doing it in missionary, so like we could make out, so I was getting something out of it. That time around, I was like, I'm literally his fleshlight right now, and he's just like using me. And then as he finished, I didn't try to get me off.
Or how could you? You're like literally glued to the bed.
I know. And then he was just like, and also twin bed.
He has a twin bed.
At the time, that was a twin bed. And so then I was like, "Oh." I said, "Okay." I got dressed.
So you're literally out of the bed.
Literally got out.
Goldilocks, like out of the bed.
No, and I got out of the bed, and then I went to work with his load in my hole, and then pushed it out when I got there. And then we didn't have sex again, because I also was like, it got to the point where I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I know
well,
what
knowing you probably would have done one more.
I gotta do at least.
Nice.
I gotta do at least 3. Third time's the charm.
Rule of threes.
But yeah. So then, and then that was like the last time that we hooked up, and then I think that wasn't for a lack of trying. I think he had hit me up again and was like trying to do it again, and I wasn't into it. Just wasn't what I was looking for. Because then ultimately I was like, I had other stuff going on, and I think every time he tried to hit me up, I was like fucking somebody else. So I was like, I have this other dick I could hit up instead, sort of thing. But it was crazy to see him last night, and then I was just like I was just reminded of the kind of person that he is, and I was like, because there was a period of time after we fucked for the first time, I was like, wait, are we gonna? Like,
yeah, around the time when they came to our show, Ms. White Jacket.
Right, came to our show.
Yes.
I totally forgot that. But I was like, wait, okay, maybe like we're a little bit more than just like a casual sort of hookup situation, like you're coming to my show or whatever. But but it was only so then in return.
It came to network.
It came to network, but also in return
Poorly.
was hoping that I would go to see their show.
Yeah.
And then I didn't go see their show because I had to work. And then it was like kind of after that because he kept DMing me about it, being like, did you get tickets to my show yet? And I was like, oh, I have to work.
Like,
and he's like request off. And I was like, ooh.
It's too late.
But yeah, that's just like the beautiful gay world that we live in which you're trying to be an artist and you're fucking other artists and they're just trying to, obviously promote their show, which you do.
Which
you're always
I
selling
do.
tickets. You're always selling tickets.
I mean, I'd be selling tickets to everybody, but I don't sell tickets to hookups unless I trust them. Like the daddy's got the tick link to my show. But listen, I mean, all in all, like it was one of those like typical or like amazing New York City nights in which like, even
one of those amazing New York City nights.
Even like with Miss White Jacket, like a recurring character in the series that is our lives, like just finding how like them, New York just gives you these kinds of things because then we can talk about them to our friends.
Also the city is so fucking small. Like it is it is actually like crazy like how many people. Oh my god, I didn't even get to yesterday. I was telling all the girlies. I didn't tell this to the group because I was embarrassed, but I'll tell it on the pod. So when we went to town council member John's apartment to pregame, I got there first. I didn't get there first.
No,
I
got there last.
I didn't get there last.
You got there last.
Robert got there last.
Oh, Robert and Andrew, yes.
I got there second to last, but I got there.
You went to the roof like a fucking idiot.
So I was told that we were pre-gaming on the roof. So I get to the apartment and I buzz and I get let in, and then I take the elevator up to the roof because I was told we're pre-gaming on the roof. So I go upstairs. I'm on the top floor. It's also like there's an entrance to the roof, and then there's like 2 stairwells that like have stairs that lead like even further upstairs, but there's a door that has like this like roof section, so I was like trying to open it and it was locked and I was like, what the fuck. But when I first get to the apartment building, I like get into the elevator and I hear the front door of the apartment building open, so I was like, I'll be nice and keep the door open because like I'm not gonna be like a rude bitch and be like, close the door, close the door, close the door. So I like kept it open. The hottest man I have ever seen. Fucking,
you keep saying that. I'm like, was this person that hot?
he was hot. Like he's like boyfriend material hot. Like to me, like I'm in a space where I'm looking at a guy and I'm like, if he's hot as fuck and I say like he's the hottest guy I've ever seen, that means like I would wife him up. You know what I mean? Like he would be my
top.
He'd be like he would wife me up. He would be like my husband. This was like a husband material kind of guy, and very Bushwicky, sort of definitely giving sort of like bi leaning straight, but like comes into the elevator and he's like, oh, thanks for keeping it open. And I was like immediately like code switch and I was like, yeah, okay, yeah, no problem, and like deepened my voice and I was like, why did I do that? Like the whole time in the elevator I'm thinking to myself, why did I do that? Oh my god, why did I do that? And then I was just like on my phone and he was just like kind of like on his phone, and then he gets off on the floor, like a floor like 2 floors below where I was getting off, and then I get off on the top floor and then I'm like looking around and I'm like, the door to the roof was locked. And so I'm like, where the fuck is everybody? And so then I called Peru and I was like, hello, like, where are you? And then they're all making fun of me. They're like, did you really go to the fucking roof, you dumb fucking loser? You fucking dumb brain dead bitch.
No, because it was so windy. It was like, and also like, how would we buzz? It's not a new building. It's not an old building, but it's like, the way the building's set up, like you would have to have deductive reasoning. Like, they're just buzzing me from the apartment.
No, because
now.
I have my friend, Miss Isabel, lives in an old building where you buzz in like that, but she can let you in off of her phone.
No. And
So
I love John's apartment, by the way. I'm not reading. I love John's. Hey, John, I know
So
you're listening.
cute,
I
so
love your
cute.
apartment. Okay,
But
so
that
cute.
was
the roof, the view from the roof.
gorge.
Gorge.
But that was what I thought was the situation. And so then everyone, when I called, they're like, "You dumb fucking bitch, get back to this floor. Just come to the apartment."
That was me.
So I get into the elevator, and as soon as I get in the elevator, my stomach, like, I felt gassy, and so then I was like, "Oh, do I have to?" I farted so long in that elevator, and then, and so then I was like, "Okay, well, thank God I'm only going down a few floors." We,
Girl, no, you didn't say this.
I know, because I was embarrassed. Because then all of a sudden the elevator lands on the floor that this guy got off at. The doors open immediately. It's the same guy, and he walks back in and he looks at me and like, the thing was, the thing was he like looked at me and he saw me and he was like he was not expecting to see me again. And then I was just kind of like a hey, and then I was like, does it smell? Oh my God, does it smell in here? It didn't. It didn't.
Are you sure? Well, the rule with the farts is the louder they are, the less they smell.
That's what it was.
The silent ones are like the.
And I trust ones. It wasn't silent. It was loud when I was in there. And so then I get off on my floor, and I think he was doing a drug pickup. That's what the vibe was.
Yeah, because he got in and then
he got off on the floor, came right back out.
He was intoxicated from your fart.
Oh, true. No, he was eating. He was like, let me eat it up. No, but then I was like, oh my God, the universe like brought us together twice. I was like, I have to see him one more time tonight, because like rule of thirds. I didn't, but it still could happen, girl. But I was like, that's my future husband. Clearly, like, destiny wanted us to be in that elevator on 2 separate occasions.
I thought you were gonna say like you had to take a shit or something, but
no, I farted in the elevator.
I mean if you're the only person there and if it smelled, it would have been really bad. I'm not gonna lie, but
no, and that's what the thing was. I was like, as soon as the door opened, as soon as we landed on the 6th floor, I was like, oh no, someone's gonna get in here. I was like, fuck, I hope it doesn't smell in here. And then when the door opened, I saw it was him.
But did you make eye contact?
Yeah.
Because knowing you're like so nervous. Like I don't know. Like
I fully was just like
holding your breath.
No, literally. And then I got off, and then I was like, oh my God, this is so embarrassing.
Oh my God.
I wanted to suck his cock though.
It's okay, sister. You made it through. Congratulations.
I survived.
I don't. As far as town halls go, this week I haven't. I ran out of my prep today. So
Do you need a pill?
I might actually borrow some pills from you.
Just one.
No, I need 2 because I need one for today, for tomorrow, because my refill's gonna be ready on Monday.
I don't know if I'll have enough though before I have to get my refill.
Well, how many do you have left?
I have a lot.
Girl, just give me 2 / maybe 3. No. Just timing wise, because I know it's gonna be ready on Monday, but depending on like my new work schedule, I can recall right now if Monday is my other double. Because tomorrow,
you're not even gonna have sex. How do you know,
honey? I haven't had sex this week. Let's think. Monday? No, I've had sex, but not since Wednesday.
Maybe some celibacy would be good for you.
Which was funny. Yesterday we were kind of talking amongst the group as far as like. If everyone douches before they go out, and like I know, well, I guess I don't want to dox him for this, but like I know one of our town council members does famously carry like a small bulb in the fanny pack just to.
Well, you carry a bulb too.
Well, I carry up. I haven't been wearing a fanny. But the thing is, like lately, I've been feeling like. Listen, I don't want to get sad again, but like I've been feeling uninspired. So like. Even the performance of bottoming has been just really deflating to me. So the idea of like bringing a bulb for me out, like I'm like, I don't want to have to be doing this. But I thought about douching before going out because I was like, but then I was like, I'm going to be out with my sisters. It's a girls' night. And to me, personally, I am the kind of girl that I'm like, if it's girls' night, my priority is to be with the girls. Now, there is an exception here because it was Miss Spencer's night, basically. She's visiting, so whatever the visitor girl wants, she'll get. And Miss Spencer had a dick appointment, which she, went to the gig.
Okay, air her shit out.
No, I'm just saying it's not bad. I'm just saying, like, it's great, of course. And so, like, that brought up the conclusion of the evening because then our sister's going to be going to her gig. So at that point, I also knew that I wasn't going to be going ham because we had this long day of recording today. So what I'm trying to say is like I didn't go into the night being like tonight I'm gonna get fucked, you know. But I know tonight, for example, there might probably more of a chance for me to get fucked because I don't think I'm gonna go out. And tomorrow I have this double at this new job that I have, so I'm gonna be there all day. So I'm not gonna have time to have sex. So I really want to get it in today because the next few days I'm gonna be really busy with this new job, and I think I'm just gonna be tired and not in the mood. So like I want to make sure that I'm safe, medically speaking. Where if the opportunity arises to have sex tonight with X, Y, and Z person with an X, Y, and Z status, you equals you people, then I'm safe. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Should we talk about that? I wasn't going to talk about it, but I'll talk about it.
Talk about what?
I didn't discuss this in the last 2 episodes, but it is something that I've done twice now since, and like it is something that I maybe like will destigmatize just the stigma of feeling stigmatized by it. But I have had sex with someone who was undetectable.
Oh.
And I have been honest with my sister Nick about the very first time that I did it, feeling anxious about it and being like, you know, like I'm like, okay, did I take my and it's like I really want to like let go of that fear by talking about it out loud, because I'm sure, I don't know if there's any townspeople out there who, and again, this is not meant to be inciting any sort of like shame or anything, but like
it's your own.
It's your own stigma that you've carried because of like bad media storylines and just the judgment that that has brought upon the gay community,
and also just like generational trauma.
And so I will admit that like I asked this person, like neg on prep here, or DDF, whatever, on sniffies, which is a more common phrase to use for any townsperson who's, younger here. I know we've got some high school students that listen to this. By all means, this isn't meant for high school students, but I'm glad that you're finding this, because maybe you are like me when I was a horny 14-year-old.
Shine bright like a diamond.
But DDF means, Nick, drug and disease free. Drug disease free, which basically encompasses, you're like STI free, but also like you don't party, you don't do tea, you don't do any of the drugs. Neg on prep is just basically like a thing that
the only tea that we do is that we clock.
We clock that tea.
The only tea is the tea that we clock.
Yeah, or in Nick's case when he gets clocked at the gig twice and it gets.
Well, when they offer me it, and then I'm like, oh no, I'm good, thank you. But you can do it. Go ahead.
No. And another thing, and for all fairness, is if I guess we're entering the section of this episode which we get boom true. I've never done tea. I've never partied. I've done
it by accident once.
Yeah, you told me because there was like a doctor, right?
No, it was a
professor who like gave it to you, and you're like, okay.
I thought it was a bong.
Yeah,
I thought I was smoking weed, and then it didn't taste like weed, and I was like, ooh, and then I threw up everywhere.
Yes, famously. But I've never done tea. I've never done meth. I've never done heroin. I've never done any of those hard drugs. The other one I have indulged in. I have to be honest. I have done it in the past. But anyway, so sometimes when you're in the hookup apps and you're going through the motions of that, sometimes I will say that doesn't even get brought up. I would say like 90% of the time, but sometimes when you're on sniffies, it's so instant. Sometimes, like, in that moment, it's just like, oh, like, whatever. But this person said, undetectable. And my first thought was just like, and that's bad. Like, that was my reaction. And I was like, wait, like, why is this a thing? Like, I'm on prep. This person's undetectable. This is beautiful. It's an ideal scenario. And this guy was hot. And I was also topping. And I was like, oh, okay. And so... I really want to just like say it here publicly because I wanna own up to like my own bad, like what's it called, like prejudgment,
Sure.
And I'm trying to release that, I'm trying to let go of that and like even be a spokesperson for this, too, which is having sex with someone who's undetectable, even having sex with someone who's HIV positive. Like, if you're taking care of yourself and you're on PrEP, this is all, it's all great. This is all perfect. There's no stigma. People live beautiful and sexually fulfilled lives with people who have HIV and people who are undetectable, which means they're untransmissible, which is what U equals U means. So I don't even know what really, I guess, button to this is, but I just want to speak on that because it did occur to me and I felt some sort of way and I felt bad about it. But I have had sex with this person again, and it's great to be on PrEP, and I love that I live in a city like New York where I can get this PrEP for free, and it's beautiful that medicine exists out there.
Happy for my sister, my town hall for the week. I went on a bad date on Sunday.
But you already talked about that.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
Did I talk about the bonus episode?
Yes.
Did I?
Yes.
Well, that's for the people who aren't on the Patreon.
Yeah, but I mean, that already happened.
Well, I didn't talk about it. Okay.
You can talk about that here now.
Well, I went on a bad date. For those who are not subscribed to Patreon, subscribe to the Patreon if you want to hear about it.
Yeah, about the bad date.
It was not cute. And then what else? I got flowers at work.
Well, that was really sweet.
Very sweet. On Monday, I was at work and one of our managers came in and he goes, "Oh, someone left flowers for you yesterday." And I was like, "What?" And he was like, "Yeah, they're in the walk-in." I was like, "Someone gave me flowers?" And he was like, yeah. They came after you left for the day, and they were like, you helped them out at a reservation or something. And he's like, I'll show you where they are. I was like, okay. And then gives me the flowers, bouquet of yellow tulips, so beautiful.
Which, if
and
you
gorgeous.
follow Nick, you posted.
I did post on my story. They were so gorgeous, and I was like, oh my god, no one has ever done that for me.
Really, I was gonna ask you, is that the first time somebody ever got you flowers?
Ever. I've gotten flowers, after I've done a show and my parents came and they
course,
gave me a
that's
boot.
different.
I never gotten flowers from a man. I'll say that. But
y'all, townspeople, even town council assembly members, trust and believers, slide into my DMs if you want Nick's address. I'll give it. No, actually,
not my address.
Well, how will they send you flowers? We need a PO box.
Come to my place of work. Or don't. But I was like, oh my god, and I was like, did you get the person's name? He's like, I forgot. I was like, okay, cool, whatever. Because I was trying to rack my brain. I'm like, who the hell did I do something for?
You've been on your nice era now on the phone, so
you're I've been famously a bitch at work, to customers, because one, they deserve it. Two, they're rude to me first, so I'm gonna give it right back. But what I've discovered that I find, one, I need this job and I cannot lose it, and I know that they want to get rid of me so badly. You can just tell.
Has it really been feeling like that lately?
It's not that it's feeling like that. It's felt more so in the past.
Because they haven't given you a final.
No, they haven't, because I haven't gotten written up for anything. If they had a reason to write me up for something, then they would.
I mean, listen, there was that era in which, unfortunately, you were getting those bad reviews. But I think, and I'm like, these people suck.
But
They're idiots.
I think what also is helping my situation is that they have hired a new person who is so bad at the job. But she's so bad at the job, and every single time that I've had to train her, it's just goes in one ear out the other. There's truly no helping her, and this woman is in her 40s. I think because of that, and the other people that they have right now that they've hired that are not good, I by comparison obviously stand out because I'm the most consistent. I actually show up for my shifts. I'm not calling out last minute. Very rarely do I do that. And I'm also just good at my job, and I'm efficient. So that I think has also been helping my case. But I've also, because we are entering in, a recession, and things are, people, it's even you, trying to get a job for the past month or whatever.
Almost 2 months.
That. For me, I'm I don't want to have to, no offense, go through all that. So I was
no, there's no offense, girl.
So I want to hold on to job as long as I can. So what I've learned is killing people with kindness, but in a way that I am now finding the fun in it. Where when I'm telling people no, if I'm saying it with a smile, and it pisses them off, I'm I just continue to get nicer to them, and I just won't budge though. Before, when people would give me attitude, I'd be like, oh, you're giving me attitude, I'm gonna give it right back to you, bitch. You will not talk to me that way. How fucking dare you?
Wait,
but now it's they're being shitty to me, and I'm like, oh, I wish I could help. I really do.
Let's do a little role play. Oh, this is fun. Oh, this is really fun. Okay, all right. So I'm gonna play the part of entitled bitch, entitled bitch, but also I'll throw you some some obstacles in there, to appeal to your senses. And then Nick's gonna play the part of Nick on the phones.
Hi, thank you for calling blank. This is Nick speaking. How can I assist you?
Hi, Nick. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I know this is gonna be kind of crazy, but I need a table for tonight. I know it is Friday night, but I'm looking for a table for tonight in between the hours of. I know it's gonna be crazy, but the hours of 7 to 8 o'clock for 3. Is there anything you have at all?
Let me look. Give me just a moment.
Oh my god, you're the best.
Okay. It looks like the earliest that I could squeeze in a table of 3 this evening would be around 10 o'clock on the outdoor patio.
10 o'clock out. It's 100 degrees outside.
Yeah, unfortunately, we are fully committed until then. That would be the earliest I could squeeze some things in, and that's me moving some stuff around to make space. Because if you were to go online right now, you would see that the earliest availability is actually going to be 11.
Okay, well, Nick, is there do you hold any tables at all for I don't know.
We're gonna pretty much be by reservation only, so walk-ins are gonna be kind of difficult tonight. We're pretty on track for those reservations, but I do suggest signing up for the notify list on Resi, which is our only wait list.
Yes, and I'm already on it. But here's the thing.
Perfect. That's gonna be the best course of action.
Okay, well, what I was gonna say is, listen. And I hate to be that person. I hate to be that person, but I'm a regular at your restaurant. I'm there.
Oh, what's the phone
all the
number?
time.
What's the phone number?
It is 888-8888-8898. It should be under Elizabeth Sparkle.
Oh, okay. I do. Oh, okay. Yeah. No,
Yes.
I've seen you've been here twice.
Oh, really? No. I'm there all the time. The bartenders know me. And,
okay.
And listen, I'm a big, I know the owner, and it is, I did use. I'm having a horrible week this week. It's my husband's birthday, and I completely forgot to make a reservation. This is his favorite restaurant. Is there any way you can help us, Nick? Please.
I could do 10 o'clock for 3 outside.
10. That is the best you can do.
At this time. Otherwise, sign up for the notify list, because if we do have any last minute cancellations, you'll find out as soon as they occur.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. What was your name again?
My name is Nick, and have a great night.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Wow. This is also when you sit next to Nick in that reservations office, right now you were kind of putting it on a little bit, but
you haven't seen me recently. That's what I've been giving.
So I'm assuming this is how you are now, because how he was then is Nick sometimes would sound like an automated system. He would have his prompted response, and sometimes I'm sitting next to him and I'm just oh, T, you're going through your script, literally sounds like, I'm
on autopilot.
When you call AT&T and it's just it sounds like you said 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock. Your best course of action is use the notify list, and they'll alert you when something opens up. Goodbye. It sounds so like a transcript.
Yeah.
But
because I say it is a script at this point, because it's the same thing that I say every single fucking night that I'm at work. And I say it hundreds of times a day.
But people, listen, people will say anything to me at the door when I was maitre ding', and I'm not lying to you. I have been told. This one lady walked in and she said, "Well, my mom has a brain tumor." And they walked in, they had a reservation. She told me her mom had a brain tumor. And I was I literally was just I am so sorry your mom has a brain tumor.
See, if someone did that to me, I literally would just be I don't give a fuck.
but I'm just what does that have to do with me being 30 minutes behind on all of my tables, and then you not having a reservation? How is that going to help your case? It's crazy.
It would be different if you were my mom is diabetic and she needs to eat something right now. She needs some sort of sugar. Please, can we just have her sit?
No, but guess what? People have told me that with kids, they try to, or my mom used to sit down. What I've done is I go and get them a chair to sit next to me at the host stand. Oh, when they're my person needs to eat, I'm I'll go and get them something, a sweet or something.
I can get you bread.
I can get you bread. I can get you a glass of water. I'll help what your excuse is. You're still not gonna get that table immediately. You still have to wait.
Yeah,
people are kind of nuts.
No, it's always somebody calling last minute because they forgot to do something, and then they expect their last minute mistake to become your emergency, and that is not the case.
And what the funniest tea is, oh, so you think you're selling your story by telling me that you're a terrible partner? Like, for example, this woman, you're telling me that you forgetting it was your husband's birthday, you didn't make a reservation ahead of time.
No, but
Divorce.
it is that. It's usually like guys being like, "Oh, it's like
Usually guys, yeah.
it's like my girlfriend's birthday, and like she like really wants to
Or
come."
anniversary.
And it's like, I'm sorry, you did not plan this out. Like
Yeah.
if I was her, I would be leaving your ass stressed.
But people are garbage. We're about to enter patio season, which is why I also like now all of a sudden they're expediting my training process because they're like, we just opened the patio, and I was there on fucking Thursday for lunch service. Patio fully sat because everyone wanted to be outside. So now everyone's gonna be outside. It's patio season.
Do you have a Pioneer?
Yeah, actually, my Pioneer is going to be the same. So we actually recorded, and you'll get to. We'll post this on socials too, and we'll talk about it. But we were just guests on a podcast today, which we just recorded. It was really fun. But honestly, you all should give them a follow and a listen. They're very sweet to us, so thanks for having us. But honestly,
shout
out. But actually, I'm gonna have the same Pioneer as but the love language thing on theirs. I have been watching a telenovela called Teresa. Which is also about a hot young woman who's independent and just trying to climb the social and financial ladders that have been impeded on her because of her socioeconomic status. And the gaggiest part right now in Teresa is that her mentor / law professor, who is clearly wanting to bang her and like is trying to pick her up from like the shambles where she lives as a poor woman in her neighborhood. Recently, he just gave her a cell phone for her because she's like interning because he's gonna pay for all of her school. Like the whole thing randomly, he's just like, you can afford to go to the law school, the fancy law school, so I'm gonna pay for all of it. And she's like, oh really? Oh, what could I ever do to repay this? And so she's like wearing like fucking like cooch high fucking like mini skirts for her internship, and the internship is not even at the law firm that he works at, it's at his house. Like it is so funny. But he recently gifted her a cell phone, and the entire vecindad neighborhood is crazy because it's like an older telenovela, from like the early aughts. And he came to Teresa's house to tell her parents he's getting her a cell phone. And they're like, what? Can't believe we cannot be accepting these favors from you. How could you buy Teresa a cell phone? And she's like, but I deserve a cell phone so I can be easily accessible to a licenciado. So like now it's a whole drama. She has a cell phone. So a shout out Pioneer Teresa and her new cell phone. I am so happy she has a cell phone.
Shout out to her. My trailblazer for this week is gonna be Essie, the nail polish brand. They have a nail strengthener polish that I bought recently because my fingernails have been very brittle. Like my
they look good though. Show them off.
Oh, my pointer fingers have, I don't know what's been going on, but anytime I've been growing them out a little bit, I think it's just that I do so much with my hands. They do sort of break easily. And I've been trying to drink more water and like trying to be more conscious about that to try to like, help. But I got a nail strengthener like coat that's supposed to help. And even now, like I do try to keep my nails painted because that also helps protect them too. But ever since with the nail strengthener, my nails are like feel so strong and like so slay. So shout out to SC. Please sponsor me. I would love.
Oh my god! Oh, please, we need some sponsorships. And we are gonna be moving in to the Patreon portion at the episode, and then we're gonna give a shout. Oh, actually, this is so crazy. Oh my god, I'm just going through the Google Forms of Submissions, and one of them is actually from Gabriel that we just shouted out from Cincinnati.
Oh, shout out!
Wait, shout out. And actually, Gabriel has a fun story about him hooking up with a 40-year-old man. So we'll discuss this. Oh my god, wait, it's kind of like Nick bag
work
of a daddy being like obsessed. Wait.
So you can follow us at Pioneers and Trailblazers. Subscribe here on YouTube or subscribe to us on Spotify if you're listening to us there, or Apple Podcasts, or wherever your podcast. You can follow Peru at Hey Peru everywhere. You can follow me at Nicholas.Rose on Instagram, ClownfaceBinch on TikTok, ClownfaceBitch on Twitter, and subscribe to the Patreon. That link is in the description, babes, if you want to get more of us.
Yes, to Tears Town Council and Trust and Believers, come support us. We're trying to continue rolling some stuff out. A bonus episode was just posted. A blog was just posted. And you're going to get more extra Nick and Peru dose. But until then, we'll see you next week.
Bye.